Cassandra Todicheene was born in 1885. She is Felipe and Kerry's only child. Cassandra was only 3 years old when her mother had fallen ill. It was very scary to see her mother so sick. Her father wasn't around anymore, and everything was gloomy all the time. Despite her illness, she always had the strength to spend time with her. Kerry raised her to be kind no matter what. Even at her lowest, she never failed to comfort her little girl. Cassandra was devastated when she died. She was grateful to have her sister's comfort during her grief, but felt that it always got her in trouble. She did her best to stay out of Marie's way. But it wasn't easy. Marie was always looking for a reason to scream at her, and she was especially cruel without Kerry around. She would stay in her room or spend her time out of the house. That's when she met Eli. He was her savior. He was always there for her. They were deeply in love. There wasn't a moment they wouldn't spend together. Within a few months, they were engaged. Cassandra couldn't wait to marry him. But Marie would not allow her to have the wedding at the house. That broke her. Cassandra wanted her wedding to be there because that was where she grew up, and it was the only place she felt close to her mother. Eli assured her that they could still get married elsewhere, but it felt like the end of the world for her. Every day she begged Marie to let her have the wedding there, but nothing could change her mind. When her sister came to visit, she told her everything. Josephine promised that she could get married at her house instead. And while it wasn't what she wanted, it was better than nothing. The wedding happened later that week, and it was better than anything she could have imagined. It was perfect. Cassandra felt very lucky to have a sister like her. She was forever in her debt. After the wedding, Cassandra moved in with Eli. The two of them were very happy together. After her sister gave birth, the thought of having children came to light. It was something that both Eli and Cassandra wanted. They started trying immediately. Despite all their attempts, there was never a result. After several years of trying, Cassandra discovered she was infertile. The couple was shocked to find out such news. It put a tear in their relationship. Eli blamed her for everything, even though she had no control over it. They were always arguing. He made Cassandra feel horrible. When he'd leave for work in the mornings, he wouldn't return until the late night. Sometimes he wouldn't come home at all. Cassandra would try to make things better, but Eli was never in the mood. With her marriage falling apart, she spent more time with her sister and her kids. She was much happier with them. When her sister was pregnant, Cassandra was happy for her, even though she had no clue who the father was. She later overheard Josephine having a discussion with Eli in private. Eli mentioned her having his child and wanting to be with her. But Josephine argued that she couldn't do that to her sister. Cassandra couldn't believe what she heard. Eli got her sister pregnant. She was broken. When they got home, Cassandra confronted him and ended their marriage. She wanted nothing to do with him or her sister. She moved out of town and lived on her own for the first time in her life. Things were quiet and peaceful. It wasn't at all the life she imagined having. But instead of being betrayed by the ones she loved, all she had to worry about was the animals stealing from her garden. One morning she caught the creature. But it wasn't an animal, it was a boy. He ran off as soon as he saw her. Cassandra knew that he was just a hungry kid trying to get some food. She didn't mean to frighten him. The next day she waited and watched from afar. The boy came back and took some apples from her tree. As she started to approach, he ran once again. Cassandra went after him. When she caught him, he begged her not to call the police. She assured that he wasn't in trouble. She invited him over to her house and cooked him a nice meal. She learned his name was Alfred and he had no home or family. She let him spend the night in the extra room. Cassandra liked having him around and wanted him to stay. In 1911, she adopted him. Cassandra loved being a mother. Alfred was the best thing that ever happened to her. There wasn't anything she wouldn't do for him. They did everything together. They would often go to the park where Alfred would play with his friend Emmett from school. Cassandra befriended the friend's father. His name was Nathaniel. He was also a single parent. His wife had died, giving birth to their daughter Anna. He admitted it was sometimes really lonely raising them on his own. Cassandra related to that. She told him about her previous marriage and how Alfred was the best thing that happened to her since. While their circumstances were different, they related to each other in one way or another. Whenever they went to the park, she looked forward to seeing him. Eventually, they started seeing each other without the children. He was the first man she was with after her marriage. She never expected to end up with someone else. But it felt like everything she was missing had finally come to her. Together they made the most perfect family. As things were getting serious, Nathaniel suggested they take a family trip out of the country. Cassandra was hesitant to accept because she had never left before. But after Alfred begged, she couldn't say no. They packed their things and boarded onto the ship. The kids watched as they set sail off to sea. The first few days of the trip were great. They had a lot of fun together. When the night came and the children were tucked in, Cassandra and Nathaniel had their alone time. One night, Emmett and Alfred snuck off to explore the ship. They found themselves at a third-class party. Meanwhile, Cassandra and Nathaniel were enjoying a romantic night together. Unable to hold it in, he proposed to her then and there. Speechless, Cassandra happily accepted. In the midst of their celebration, the ship crashed into a massive iceberg. The couple quickly ran to find their children. But when they got to the room, the boys were nowhere to be found. Nathaniel grabbed Anna. He told Cassandra to take her and get on a lifeboat, but she refused to go anywhere without her son. So they searched together. But as the ship filled with water, they started to feel hopeless. When they made it to the upper level, they found Emmett, but there was no sign of Alfred. Cassandra asked where he was, and Emmett explained that he was trapped. They found him in a hole in the floor, struggling to stay afloat. His foot was caught on something underwater. Without hesitation, Cassandra jumped in after him and tried to get him out. As she did so, the floor began to collapse. Nathaniel and Emmett quickly ran to safety. Cassandra held her son as the water rose. They drowned together. Nathaniel and his children would make it out, but there were no lifeboats to escape in. With nowhere to go, they sank with the ship.